What sort of creature is this? What sort of creature is this? sort of creature is this?
Here's what's left of him. Not a lot to check, but I should anyway.
Some voucher for a free checkup in Whitechapel.
What is Nurse Crane up to? I really must find her.
No civilians allowed, sir. I said go back home! Easy does it, boys. We can deal with this vermin. Back in the grave, you.
It's locked.
Turn, you stupid beast! Oh my! Kill the vermin! I hate leeches!
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, Doctor. I believe...
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us. I am Thoreau Strickland. Dr. Thoreau Strickland.
Please, could you tell me...
I'm a great admirer of your work.
What made you choose...
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by...
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors...
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my...
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the...
What can you tell me about...
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about...
You seem quite optimistic.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of...
Questions remain about our
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work.
Do you need help with it?
Well, yes, maybe.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare...
I see. Well, give me the address, for I'm... What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to mod...
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recognize...
So you believe it's just a question?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Tell me more about your willingness.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain...
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to
Do you think keeping his distance...
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings.
Tell me, Mr. Fiddick.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury.
But why would he hide such crucial...
Because he is a proud father. Ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening, Miss Howcroft.
I need blood, Doctor. Warm.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure.
Do you plan to make him...
Of course not. How could I inflict my
Would you say you and Mr...
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire.
I'll leave you, mistress of the...
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine. Damn. The pain. It's here again.
I wonder why the Goswicks came here in the first place.
Fear and disgust on every street corner.
So many deaths.
The daily
A lot of
routine.
my own life.
Sir Pembroke is so lucky to have Dr. Reed, you know. I met him in New York.
If only there were more of them, less resignation and more determination.
Safer read than anywhere else in the East End.
Wish I could say the same.
You look at them. You're pushing it. You're too hard. Don't have to bear the burdens of this.
That was fast.
I'm afraid the trail of breadcrumbs leads...
Is that so?
Now it's time for you to be patient. It would seem that your blackmailer is part of a more complex machination whose root is in white...
Machination?
I hadn't considered that eventuality.
Do be careful, my good doctor. When immortals are involved, the stakes tend to escalate quickly.
I'll return with case solved.
And I thought last time was epidemic.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
Perhaps I should consider the offer from that Cadigan fellow.
Good evening, Milton. I have some good news, Milton.
What? The
I retrieved your wallet. With all...
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the
I know it's a difficult task, but correct...
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
What's going on between you?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit.
During the war, I witnessed a few...
Maybe you're right. But we...
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing...
I'd like to see...
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that candidate.
Good evening, madam.
It's my son who needs you.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick.
What can you tell me about your...
Not much to say. Just take care.
Are you really that rich? Most...
Yes, thanks to my husband.
May I ask if you...
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their family.
What do you think of your reception?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice. Considering...
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such...
Tell me more about your arrival at the pep...
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a due...
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son, despite the
She charged you?
Yes, and I paid without question.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people...
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be...
Your son wished to die, Beatrice.
Are you not aware suicide is a crime?
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly...
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or...
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
My sweet girl. Treats me like a boy.
Good evening. I'm
No,
really?
I don't want to talk,
I suppose that this pain is the reason...
Yes.
Could you at least tell me your...
Mortimer.
How painful is...
So painful, I'd rather...
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his...
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just...
Yes, maybe. But
How painful is your...
So painful.
I'll let you get some...
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing...
And you have my gratitude for that.
How painful...
So painful,
Why did your mother have you hospitalized?
My mother just wants the best for me.
Pembroke Hospital may look...
It's not me you have to convince, Doctor.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor?
That's tempting, Doctor.
Tell me about yourself.
I don't want to talk.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes.
All right, then. This is the first...
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you, then.
Can I help you in any way?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But...
I see. And is...
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that...
Do you need any help?
Thank you, Dr. Reed, but you've done enough already.
I have to go now, sir. But don't...
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, sir.
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my
I see. Would you...
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want...
Tell me about yourself.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Are you satisfied?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed.
I won't lie to you about it.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues...
In other circumstances, you would be right. Tell me about the doctors.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the...
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey.
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself.
How could your job...
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children...
Tell me more about the death of your...
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construct...
I'm sorry for your loss.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just...
How are your children?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Ellen didn't bring them with her that night.
Is there anything else that's bothering you?
I'm all right, considering the state of...
Is there anything...
I'm all right.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fit.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen. As for me, what a blundering idiot.
I will not let you down, my boy.
It's here again.
Good evening, Miss Howe.
I need blood, Doc.
Do you require my service?
I have no need for your medicine.
I'll leave. Good evening, Miss...
Evening.
Soldier.
I'm fine. Just do something for the...
Goodbye.
Fear and disgust on every street corner.
Simpletons, these nurses. Bred with no respect.
Hello again, Dr. Reed.
Someone's poached my blanket.
Goodbye, Mr. Ham.
Cold will be my death. We must prove what we are capable of.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening.
Why does Dr. Tippett's claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his
If it wasn't for him,
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as...
if you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and not...
Goodbye, nurse. In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust.
It's locked, all right.
does it, boys. We can do it. What's happening? He's done for! Look at it. Gone up like kindling.
Opium is one of the main ingredients of Strickland's medication. Never a good move. Hello again, Mr. Thatcher. Do you feel any better now?
Yes, this neighborhood may stink of dog shit and reek of piss, but to me it smells like the purest mountain.
Mr. Thatcher.
No. Since I came back from the war, I spent most of my time and energy just trying to forget.
I understand what you mean.
No. Nobody...
Why were you locked in that sewer?
I went by the canal after an argument with a friend. Got chased by these fucking wankers and had to barricade myself in.
Why did you run?
Newton wanted me to go to a hospital, but I can't...
Tell me about your claustrophobia. Has anyone given you an official diagnosis?
That's what the bloody doctor said, but I don't...
Oswald, why did you not...
I don't trust doctors. All they care about...
Your fear of being trapped is not going to go...
I've seen enough butchers in white coats to last a lifetime. Hospitals reek of chemicals and death. What I need is...
Do you want to talk about why you have...
No, I really...
An irrational fear like yours is usually rooted...
Well, Doctor, take a guess then, if you're so interested.
As a soldier, you're expected to kill the enemy to survive. Guilt is a powerful emotion and...
My God, you're so wrong. Believe...
Do you need medical attention?
Don't get me wrong, sir. I'm grateful for what you've...
I will see you later. Do you need...
Don't get me wrong.
I will see... Goodbye, Mr. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed,
I will cover for you, Dr. Tippett, by keeping what happened to Mr. Connor to myself.
I don't know what to say, actually.
You didn't force me. This is my decision to make. I believe you're still of use to the hospital, considering the situation.
Then I can make you this promise. As soon...
What will you do after you're ready?
I always fancied visiting Cyprus.
Do you need any medical assistance?
Come on,
Goodbye, Doctor. Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick.
Thank you. This is for you, then.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair while the world crumbles around you.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what...
The world is bleak. But maybe the pain we feel is the best compass for making it.
How can we repair the world, Dr. Reed?
Do you need any help?
Thank you, Dr. Reed, but you've done enough.
I have to go now, sir.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Doctor.
Mortimer is extremely vague.
As you say, Mortimer had no reason to die. All he said to me was that he wanted to make the world a better place.
Why did your son...
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy fact.
What do you think he meant?
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul. He wouldn't talk to anyone for months after his father passed.
Do you realize your son could try to kill himself again? He might succeed.
I think about it every minute.
You're right. Your son's death was not fatal. And unlike many on their own, he is lucky to have...
I can't give up on him. I just can't. I have conceded many times in my life, but giving up on my son...
I have read your son's suicide note. It was not an impulsive gesture, nor was it his first.
He threatened to kill himself a few times before. But I never thought he would dare to punish me this...
Punish you?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his life. But I always hoped he cared enough to avoid making me suffer.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswell.
Always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
You don't mind if I search your pockets, do you, sir? You won't need any of these anyway. I'm not stealing from you, mister. I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir, so it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir. And I thank you for your generous donation.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.
Good evening. I'm Dr.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir.
A colleague?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker.
What do you mean? You used to be a doctor?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be...
Are you afraid or
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have...
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death.
How did you get...
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there.
Have we met before?
I don't think so.
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet...
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is...
Why do you have to watch?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
A pawnbroker?
Yes, sir. All kind of...
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread.
I'm very cautious, sir.
What kind of...
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things.
Since you're not afraid of dying...
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacle...
Do you think you would enjoy immortality?
I don't think so. Don't mistake.
Do you really believe?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse.
Quite depressing.
Yes, but the good news is...
So you're red?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my...
You're a wise man.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rock?
These people are dead, sir.
You should show respect for the dead.
The bodies I watch over are the unwanted and undesired, sir. I would never deprive anyone of their...
Please show me what you...
Of course. It's just trinket... It never ceases to amaze me how you, the dead, seem peaceful and lost. At the same time.
Good evening, Miss
I
Hutt.
need blood, Doctor.
Don't worry, sir. Everything's going to be fine. I'm just going to go and get some.
I'll leave you.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadigan fellow. The offer from that Cadigan fellow.
It's locked.
Good evening.
How
These people...
you should show...
The bodies I watch over...
Do you need med...
I'm feeling all right, Doctor.
Goodbye, Mr.
It's locked, all right.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. These men, they're a company of professional vampire hunters.
Good evening.
Tell me the truth about your appointment.
The regiment administration appointed me by mistake.
Do you realize how many soldiers died because...
Yes, sir. I swear I did, sir. But no one listened. When the first wounded arrived, I had to do...
It is an unbelievable...
It was a time beyond belief, Dr. Reed. But I'm happy.
You can't impersonate a doctor.
You're absolutely right, sir. But as a field surgeon, it was more like being a butcher.
Do you believe you have really helped?
My ratings were within the averages of the regiment.
Goodbye.
It's locked, all right.
I'm quite busy.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives.
Are you thinking about...
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure. But my young...
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding?
Rivalry? I guess...
Why do you...
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
If you are going to lead this surgery, I'm trusting you to assume the consequences of your actions.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his
What do you think of Dr. Tippett?
Tippett is a good practitioner.
Really? That's exactly his...
He has the right to think so. But I deserve this promotion. And I don't consider it anything but...
Thank you for your...
Good evening.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswell.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Miss...
This hospital seems to be falling apart.
Good evening,
But in the
Miss...
circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Your mother won't let you down, Mortimer. Don't you share her hope for a better future?
No. I don't.
Won't you even try?
Do you want me to promise you I'll get better? Do you want me to tell her the same thing? I could, but it...
Do you need any help?
Thank you, Dr. Reed, but...
I have to go.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doctor.
And good evening to you, Doctor.
Tell me, Thoreau, what's...
He refuses to admit that your blood transfusion technique is the only way to save Mr. Fiddick.
What Dr. Ackroyd really said is that you lack the skill to perform this operation efficiently.
It's a false conceit. Doctor...
I located the shop, but it was vandalized, and the owner is missing. All I found was your order.
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't...
This dreadful influenza, of course. I already ran some tests on hopeless cases, without success.
Do you realize you could create a lethal poison without the correct dosage? Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reed? However, if you would agree to improve...
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with your experiments, I may try to gather these substances, and even help in...
That's all I'm asking for.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak...
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reed. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of...
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reed. I've read...
Don't you think we have enough work already? Perhaps now is not the best time to be...
Chasing shadows, really? It's funny those words coming from the only doctor here who has spent more time outside...
Goodbye.
My sweet girl.
I can't let Strickland... Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Doc...
Goodbye, Good evening, Mr.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
You seem worried about the safety of your family.
I cannot give up on my children.
What about their mother?
She died in 1915 during one of the first...
Is there anything else?
I'm all right.
Goodbye for now.
I will not let you down, my boy.
I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
With you at our side, Dr. Reed, I know that Pembroke will prevail and survive this epidemic.